The next part of this is a focus on the intersection of people and information and technologies with media. And mediaX research uses old traditional media, but we also pride ourselves in trying to look for new opportunities and new media to use. The creation of content using the new media technologies is at the frontier of what we do for our mediaX Science and Storytelling initiative. We use cases involving new media and new media technologies to enrich our studies of the way people use the technologies and what we want them to try to do. So now joining me on the stage are two people that are a part of a very exciting project, and you can see it here on the screen. It's known as MOVEMENTO. We have Dave Toole, who's the CEO of MediaMobz, and we also have Gilberto Topczewski. I want credit for that. All right, CEO of bigBonsai from Brazil. Both, again, mediaX members, and we're very pleased to have both of them here. MOVEMENTO. Here we are. We've talked about it for many, many moons, and let's go. Gilberto, why don't you lead us off with what MOVEMENTO is, what we're thinking of, what you're thinking of, maybe how it all came together, and
okay.
Stage is yours.
Okay, so is this working? Yes? No? Yeah?
No.
So first of all, thank you all for being here, and thanks a lot for mediaX and Martha and Jason and all the team to actually making this happen. It's happening right now. So I want to share a little bit of a background with you in order to come to where we are now. About 10 years ago, I created a production company in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and the aim of it was to actually serve the transformation that production was going through at that moment. Basically, it was going through deep digitalization of production means as well as dissemination means. At that time, exactly in 2005, a new channel was created called YouTube. And that enabled us to disseminate personal content or different kinds of content as never before. So while doing some documentaries, we, bigBonsai, became a boutique production company in Sao Paulo working for brands in special branded content projects. And those brands are Nike, Samsung, Gatorade, Ford Motor Company. So we got involved in several amazing projects using new formats of actually putting the content together, as well as new forms of distributing that content and receiving the feedback from the audience. So now today, 10 years has passed, and we face a very different and very challenging scenario. Basically, the aspects of today brings us a great opportunity, and it's an opportunity to make a difference in the world that we're living in now. Today, as we face a massive global flow of information, which sometimes is overwhelming, at the same time it sheds light to local and global issues that we wouldn't have the chance to get in touch with before. If you match that with the actual consolidation of social networks, we have groups of people getting empowered all over the world to actually promote changes as never before. Digital consumption of content has actually completely changed the game. If you think about, for instance, the internet flow, that's a new information, not so new, I mean things are so fast right now, but about 2 months ago we have gotten this information that in internet peaks in the US, Netflix is responsible for 35% of all the bandwidth downstreaming. And the second company responsible for the usage of that bandwidth, guess who it is? It's 20% for YouTube. So digital consumption has really changed the way we deal with information, with entertainment. If you think about the millennials, I mean, you know, this new generation coming up now, I mean, they basically consume their information through internet, through digital formats. Besides that, we are today much more connected than we have ever been. I mean, we've been talking about that since we started our conversations this morning. I mean, we don't let our telephones go anymore except when we are sleeping, and we are receiving and exchanging information and creating content and sending it over on and on during all day for the rest of our lives. That takes us to, you know, I mean, also something that we have just seen now. We have also new possibilities, new applications, new devices to actually create content, to actually disseminate that content, to make people participate in the creation of that content. And, you know, that brings us new possibilities of financing projects, new possibilities of creating collaborative content projects all over the world. So basically the question is, not the question, but the scenery is basically a perfect scenery for creating high social impact content projects. But are we actually doing that? This is an information that I collected from a Dave Maston lecture the end of last year. So it seems like we are not getting our job done somehow. I mean, if we compare the numbers of how much we spend in consumption-driven content for brands and corporations against other kinds of contents, such as science content, these numbers are kind of outrageous. I mean, what kind of society are we building for the future? Are we building a consumption-driven society? Or are we crafting a knowledge-sustainable society? So that's a question that I leave you with, and I'll call Dave to join me on the next slide here.
Great. Thank you, Gilberto. Thank you, mediaX and you folks here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the tools that we're going to be using in helping to bring participation into the storytelling process. And why this is important to me personally. I spent 25 years in the technology industry with a public company with thousands of people around the globe, and I saw a couple of trends. One, how do you communicate with people around the globe? And visual content tends to have a greater impact in that. Secondly, helping the likes of Intel develop a dozen generations of technology, seeing the cost of storytelling tools dropping rapidly. How can you assemble those in a productive way to help people tell stories? So I founded a company called MediaMobz, and MediaMobz helps to do something like Uber for storytelling. And great storytelling requires interdisciplinary skills. So we have a marketplace of thousands of videographers, photographers, animators, thought leaders that are very easy to bring together to tell stories anywhere in the world. Some examples of that: clients who need stories told in a couple of days in Chile, Argentina, Europe are able to find people who are skilled and capable in those locations. Companies who have offices around the globe who want to capture employee stories are able to gather those quickly. We did a project because part of our business is about the social impact. As Gilberto talks about, we did some ocean projects where we brought students from underserved communities together to tell stories that supported a story arc around 50 ways to save the ocean. So we have a network of storytellers. We want to bring thought leaders together to help amplify their stories. We have a set of collaborative tools that help people. Creating video is tough. There's technology impediments. And we help bring those pieces together to make it easy to create distributed stories around the globe. And through that process, we're doing some experimentation around new learning methods, where we have some universities who are taking seminars and videos and having students interpret those videos, in essence create cliff notes or create trailers from those videos to help understand how well they're learning that subject matter. And then we have a publishing platform that gives you the ability of taking video, adding multimedia capabilities around that, and easily authoring that, publishing that, and measuring the impact that that has. So I'm privileged to be here in a project that I have a lot of passion around in supporting bigBonsai, mediaX, and hopefully amplifying the voice of thought leaders, because as was pointed out, that should be what's forming the voice of our society. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I mean, we're trying to gather a group of different skills to actually tell the stories that would help us basically craft the future that we would like to see, rather than wait for it to come to us. So over the last year, while discussing the MOVEMENTO project and putting all that together, we have already shot some interviews in order to, to get a little bit deeper in those questions. These videos will be soon released. They're all here, and they're very interesting, very accurate information about how these fields are evolving, developing, and how they could, benefit from what we want to do. And right now, we are already working in our first, let's say, prototype of our project. So the first theme that we are going to address in MOVEMENTO is already the future of work. So there has been a workshop for innovation leaders that happened about a month ago, in which future of work has been discussed, and lots of ideas came to us. That was all recorded in video, and it's content that is feeding us, and possibly it will come out to an audience. On April 29th, that's going to be a very, very interesting event. It's the core of MOVEMENTO. In MOVEMENTO, what we are basically doing, we are bringing storytellers together with thought leaders. And by that conjunction of people, we are creating the stories that we can tell in order to, again, craft a future that we want to see. So on the 29th, we're going to have some very, very top-notch Hollywood storytellers coming to Stanford to be together with some great Stanford thought leaders on conversations that will be open to the public, to the audience, so that we can collaborate on those conversations in order to create the stories that we want to tell about future of work. And then from that, we're going to start sharing all the content that we are creating in this first step with the audience globally through internet, using all the means that we can use. And then we also will create a more, let's say, strong piece of content about what has been discovered to be delivered in the near future. That is just one-time process that we're going to repeat over several subjects. So this is just the first subject that we are addressing, but we're going to address several subjects and do the same kind of, and iterate that same kind of process throughout the next month, maybe years. So I want to share that with you. We have sound here.
the screen here.
It is a brave new world. It is a massive, complex, collaborative, connected, disruptive, dispersed, creative, social, digital, crowded, active, brave new world. And it lasts for seconds, no more. Before we know it, technology, connectivity, and social media will frame the present. It happened so fast that now is no more than a glimpse. Dynamic collaboration refreshes static hierarchy. Complexity challenges centralized authority. Purpose transcends profit. Shared value becomes wealth. And crowd becomes community. It is us connected together that turn today into tomorrow. Stories make us what we are. Storytelling shapes what we become. This is MOVEMENTO, a deliberative communication experiment that promotes positive transformation, an innovative co-creation process that will bring together the brightest thought leaders and the most skilled storytellers, an entertaining, solution-oriented communication platform, fresh, relevant content about current global issues targeted to a millennial audience. As now becomes past, we craft the future we want to see.
Excellent. I always like that part where she jumps out the boat. I always want to pretend I'm doing that. And on that note, please thank Dave Toole.
Thank you.
Gilberto, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.